Awesome. So again, to get to your extra credit, you can just go into this extra credit pane here, open up that guy, and then you'll have access to a PDF that you can open up. And now I kind of went over the top with my levels of instructions here. You don't really, I would say it's very helpful to read this actually, but if you watch the video that I'm creating now as well, that'll be just as good. And essentially what I wanted to show off in this project is talking about action panel, or what actions are. Some of you might be familiar with actions, but essentially what we can do is that if we're modifying an image and we really liked how we did it, we can record how we did it and then paste it into a new image so that we can recreate what we did. Now that sounds very complicated and convoluted, but it's actually quite easy once you do it a few times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly open up just a practice image. I'm going to go ahead and open up Station. Station was this image that we used back in our first class in DM141. And again, nice enough image, everything's okay with it. And let's say that I have two images that I need to make black and whites and add some hue saturations to and stuff like that to make it a bit more complicated looking. And I have to do it, in this example, I'm only going to do it on two. But let's say that I have like 40 images I have to do this for some reason. So what we could do is use something called the Actions panel. Now, the way that you can get to the Actions panel is if you go up to Window, and then Actions right here. And if I click on Actions, I have this, oh, well, when you open it up, it should be empty. Apologies for that. I'll be brought up on this right side here. There's something called ACT that pops up. And you'll notice I have a bunch of options here, all this good stuff. And all I want to do, and again, this is all outlined in text. If you don't feel like watching a video, you can review the text there. But essentially what I'm going to do is create a new set of actions that I can copy and paste. So now to do that, what I will need to do first is go down to this folder that's called New Action Set. So I'm going to click on that folder, and it gives me an empty folder called Action Set 0. Now we can't do anything just yet because we need to save the actions into a file. So what we need to do next is click on this fold a piece of paper to make a new action. Excuse me. Now, after I made a new action, I can actually go ahead and start doing something that I think is pretty cool. And I can go ahead and click this circular button to start recording. Now, you'll notice nothing happens just yet, but if you remember, I wanted to make my images a bit more unique. So right now, I made an action set. I made an action 0 by clicking this folder, and now I selected this recording button. And now what happens next is if I go to, let's say, Image, Adjustments, and maybe I can add in a hue and saturation. And I'm going to preview it. Let's see here. I won't make it too crazy looking. Maybe 18 of that. Maybe I'll make it a bit weird looking. Maybe make the lightness a bit more. Awesome. And I'm going to hit OK. You'll notice that it applies the effects, but what else happened here? You'll see that I have a check mark now that says hue and saturation. So what if I go to Filter and I go to Blur? And let me get my Gaussian blur out here. Let me make it pretty... It's still pretty blurry. Let me make it not too blurry. I'm going to add a Gaussian blur of 0.3 and I'm going to hit OK. You'll notice that it also records me adding that in as well. Now the thing that you need to remember is that it won't record everything you do. For instance, if I take out my brush tool here and I start drawing everywhere, it won't save it for me. But it will save adding in effects for us. Now, if I go to Filter, let me go to maybe Stylize. Oil paint looks kind of cool. I can add in this filtery oil paint effect to my image. Maybe I will make it like that. I'm going to hit OK. And now again, I have this oil paint added as well. So you can see where I'm kind of going with this. I'm going to add in maybe an adjustment level of curves. See here. And now I have a new adjustment layer added. And then one more for the road. I'm just going to make this a bit, whoopsie-daisy, black and white maybe. Then I'll make it a bit lighter like that. That looks a bit scary. Awesome. Cool. So I kind of made my image of a station into this type of art book style. Now, the cool thing about this is that you'll notice that I was recording everything I did here. So it kept track of all my steps. And now that I'm done with my image, I like what I did here. I can go ahead and hit this button down here that says record again. And that will stop my recording. And then what I can do is I can go ahead and hit this save button right here. And when I hit save, it will bring up something called an actions.atn file. Now, what you want to do for the extra credit, and again, I'm speaking this for extra credit, but if you just wanted to do this to practice with actions, that's fine too, is I'm going to go ahead and save my actions.atn file onto my desktop. Now, what I'm also going to do, because I saved it, is I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And I want to show an example of why we are doing this. Let me look up an image on Google. A brand new image of something we haven't edited yet. Let's see here. Say flower field or something. Great, so I have this field of flowers I can look at. And I'm just going to go ahead and save this to my desktop. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up in my desktop the other image. Now I want to make this image have the exact same effects that this guy had. And I can't really remember what I did already because I did a few things. So I remember I tried adding in the Gaussian blur. That was one I did. And I also did the oil paints. And I did a few other things. And let's just say that I did 40 things. And I can't remember how I did it or the process. Well, luckily, I saved my actions file from earlier, right? So what I can do now is I can go to File, while I have this guy open too. File, Open. And then I can click my actions.atn file. I can go ahead and open them up. And it will say up here, load actions.atn. Also next time, you can just hit OK on that. And now I get this prompt that says actions added. So if I go over to my ACT in this corner here, or if I go to Window Actions, what do you see up here is the same thing we did before, right? So what I can do is select, let's say Action 0. Or you can select this one as well because we only have the one action. And I'm going to say select action 0. And then I'm going to hit play. And what do you know? It actually copies and pastes everything I did in the other image into this current image as well. This one looks a bit creepier than I expected. Sorry about that. But as you can see, it pretty much applied the same effects in the exact same order. As the other one, and you'll notice that I actually see the order in my history pane, right? So because the black and white makes it a bit weird looking, I'm going to get rid of that one. Maybe I can get rid of these as well. So it's a very neat tool to use, and if you can see here, you can apply the same effect to other images pretty quickly in the same order and fashion. So that's essentially your extra credit. You make an actions.atn file, and you apply it to a few images. In my example, I did a castle and made it kind of black and white. But all you will need to submit in the extra credit folder is the 2 images that you edited, or if you want to do more images, that's fine as well. And the ATN file. I believe the ATN file should be accepted by Moodle. If it's not, that's no big deal. You can just put in the images. But definitely try this out for extra credit if you're interested in it, as it's a really neat tool and it can help for the quiz as well.